Hello, everyone.
Hey, hey, love, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been, a really busy day, but we're here, thank goodness.
We're here.
Yeah. Had a little tightening
And
of the joints this morning and this afternoon, so I got my therapy putty in my hand and squeezing it. So, yeah.
so this is not me interviewing you. So it's really not an unapologetically 50 plus broadcast. This is a collaboration with both of us. Um, and we are going to talk about freedom. We're going to talk about rediscovering who we are at this wonderful age. We're going to talk about exiting the grind of work, life. I shouldn't say we can't exit the life, can we? Exit the grind of life. We can't do that.
You can exit a lifestyle that you didn't
You
like.
can exit a lifestyle,
Hmm.
exactly. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So thank you guys if you're here live with us, thank you. If you're catching the replay, thank you. We're so glad you're here. Go ahead and drop a hello in the chat for us and tell
Yeah.
us where you are tuning in from.
Now
We'd
I
love to
am
hear
in
it.
New Jersey.
She's in New
Yep.
Jersey. Hey, Temple. And
Hey,
I
Temple.
am in Oaktown, California.
Woo!
And that's across the bay from San Francisco for people. We're the stepchild of San Francisco.
Okay.
So, but so tonight we're diving into a conversation that is close to both of our hearts.
Yeah.
And again, it's about freedom. And we're not talking about the picture perfect version you might see online, but the kind of freedom that changes how you breathe and how you wake up in the morning and how you show up for yourself. So, but before we get started, we want to first of all, and this is for both of us, please, if you find any value in this content, remember to like, share, subscribe. You can subscribe to either one of our, or both, preferably both, of our channels. Um, and I'm going to start. My name is Angela. I'm the founder of Unapologetically 50 Plus, and it is a space for women 50 and over to grow, connect, and return to themselves without apology. We support women in navigating change, reigniting purpose, and living in alignment with what matters most at this stage of life. Miss Miriam, go ahead and introduce yourself, love, while I close my door.
Okay, yeah, I had to take my microphone away from the dog. He was chewing on it. So I am Miriam Davenport. I am the exit queen, and I am known as the exit queen because I make exits that are purposeful, with a plan, and healthy, emotionally, mentally, physically. And I help women because I was in that situation. So I want to help as many women as possible to exit the grind, exit toxicity, so that you can just wake up in the morning and just have that woosah feeling, that breath of fresh air, that just relaxed state that you long for and that you
Yeah.
dream about.
I hear your baby in the background. I
Yeah,
hear
he's
him.
whining. He's mad because I took, look what he was doing.
Chewing. So, Miriam, real quick before we get started. So you are in the process. You're right now. You're in Jersey, but you got back from Spain a couple of like 4 weeks, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks
Hmm.
ago,
Yeah, about a month ago, I came
a
back
month
because my
ago. Oh,
daughter,
girl.
she graduated from high school, and
Yeah.
I had to help her pack up to go to her first year of college. So that just happened last weekend, and so now I'm moving back to Spain in 2 more weeks.
In 2 more weeks, and
Yeah,
you said you've been ripping and running trying to get things going for your visa process,
yeah.
and when you get back home, and I call Spain home now for
Mhm,
you. When
mhm.
you get back home, because there's the process doesn't stop when hit when your feet land. You land in Spain, so you still have things that you have to do once you get there to complete the visa process.
Right.
So you have a lot going on. So I appreciate that you were willing and able to jump on here with me so we can talk about
Sure.
like we said, talk about this thing we call freedom. So why are we having this conversation tonight? Miriam and I both know so many women over 45. And again, I deal with mostly women 50 and over. Marion is, 45 and over, that are carrying the weight of expectations from our family, work, and just even society in general. And a lot of us don't even realize how much of ourselves we set aside. I know for me, there was a time when I was doing everything, going to work, you get your degree, you go to work, you get married, most likely have children. And by the world standards, things were looking good. I should say America. I'm not even going to say the word. By American standards, you do everything right. You get the house, you got the two cars, and blah, blah, blah. But I was exhausted and I became uninspired, especially the type of work I was in. I just was not feeling it. But I stayed because, hey, you got to make money. You got to, live this American dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get up, go through the motions, and tell myself this is just what life is all about. But I knew there was something missing. And especially when I hit 50, well, I'm going to say it was a little later for me. I didn't have that aha moment till probably about 55.
Me too.
Oh, okay. But we get stuck and we convince ourselves that feeling drained or restless or uninspired, it's just a part of the deal, that it's normal. But I mean, really, is it normal? And that's kind of what we want to talk about. Is this hustle and grind, is it normal? Or should we continue to buy into that as being normal? And Marion, jump in at any time that you want to,
Well,
my love.
it makes me think about when I started my YouTube channel back in October, and I got a lot of comments when I was talking about 9 to 5s and what a grind it was and everything. And I,
Hmm.
at that point, I had no intention of moving overseas. But
Right,
I had all of these comments of people telling you that, well, this is the way it is, and you just have to keep working, 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 save as much as you can, don't overspend, don't live above your means, and put
right,
everything
right,
in your savings, and then just wait till you retire. I'm like,
right,
that can't be all there is to life. I want to enjoy myself while I still have my mental faculties, while I
right.
still have my sort of physical health, because, and then as days were going by, I started having like these back issues, and
Same
and it
here.
was a lot of it was stress related too, but some of it was, I couldn't get out of it, and I said, this
Right,
can't, there's got to be more. I need to do
right,
something different. And so that's where I said, you know what, I have to pivot. I have to do something, or else I
right,
can't die like this can't be all
right.
there is.
This can't be all there is. And I'm right there with you because I was in the medical field, the healthcare industry, I should say, for 20 years, from being member services to all the way up to being in the out in the field in the pharmaceutical industry. And my whole thing was, one, I'm real big on not taking a lot of medication. And so that just it just, every time I went into work and I had to pretend like I wanted to push this medication, it was something that it just started physically draining me because
Mm.
that was not in my spirit, and it didn't fit with who I was. And then I was like you, I had a lot of back issues. My job required me to drive literally 3 days a week, which I know a lot of people say, well, that's not a lot, 3 days a week, but I could put easily in 3 days 400 miles on my car.
Mm-hmm.
Not my car, but the rental, but
Yeah.
400 miles. And that's a lot of driving. That is a lot of driving, getting from offices to offices and waiting and talking, blah, 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 all the stuff.
Yeah.
It was time. And thankfully, I say thankfully because it was a blessing in disguise. I got laid off. And I finally just said, like you, I'm not, there has to be something
Mm-hmm.
else. And so, I started with a podcast with me and my husband, and then he got real busy. So I pivoted and said, okay, let me do something else that is near and dear to my heart. And it's talking to and about and for women of a certain age range. And you're right. We want to be able to get out there and live our best life while we still have it together.
Yeah.
and not wait until we're 70,
Mm-mm.
when we can collect, I mean, you can collect it earlier, but when you can really feel like you might have something saved in the bank, and then trying to truly afford to live in America on, what you hopefully have saved enough of,
Yeah.
it's a rat race, and it just something has to give and something has to be better out there for us, especially as Black women, maneuvering through this midlife, and it should be the best time of our lives. We've
Right.
done everything. We've had the kids, we've helped other people, we've done what we're supposed to do. So this should be our time. And oh, Temple is saying amen to that. Don't want to be dreaming about the life you envision for the future self from the grave. That's right. Right, Temple? Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what if the feeling is simply a sign? You're feeling like this, there's something, there has to be more
Hmm.
to it. It's just, you're just becoming ready for a new direction. Because freedom isn't about breaking away from something, it's about moving towards something that feels
Hmm.
deeply right for you. And like for you, Miriam, and me, it was doing this podcast, it's working with other women, it's collaborating with other Black women, to bring something else to the table besides get out there and grind so hard
For someone
that
else.
for
Hmm.
someone
Yeah.
else.
And
Exactly.
that's the part right
Exactly.
there, because in my job, there were no raises to be had. We were not getting a raise. We weren't getting a bonus. We weren't getting anything. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what am I here for?
Right.
And
Right.
they were quick to tell me what I was there for. You're here to grow our company.
Right.
And
Right.
I said, well, I can be growing my own company if I'm going to put in 12 hours a day for you guys, traveling an hour and a half commuting each way every day. No, thank you.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to do something different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also want to point out that we're not going to we don't want to just focus on, yes, the grind of getting out, or at least maybe shortening your time
Hmm.
in corporate America, but it's also about evolving and reinventing. And sometimes I don't like that word reinventing, because we're not starting over, we are just becoming, I'd say, becoming the women or the woman that, we've had to put on the shelf for a while, that we've had to, you know, put it way back in the shelf and then dust it off at some
Hmm.
time later in life, because you have other obligations to other people.
Right.
So it's not just about, okay, let's get out of the grind. First, you need to find out, okay, if I'm going to get out of the grind, who am I now, and what do I want to focus on that makes me feel whole, or that makes me feel like I am doing something for me.
Hmm.
Because as we know, as we get older, you start to really change your thoughts about life, your thoughts about how you want to live your life. They start to change.
They
They
do.
start to you have, I don't know about you, but I it was like an epiphany. I was like, "Oh my goodness. This is okay. I'm starting to feel myself, I'm 50 plus, and
Right.
I'm starting to like, okay, I like who I'm becoming, but it takes work. It's not something that just happens overnight, and especially if you've been beaten down, or I don't mean physically, but beaten down just by societal expectations. It's going to take some time and some effort and community to figure out who you are at this stage in life."
Yeah, and I find that, you know, a lot of times we do think that it's great to have community. It's great to have that support of like-minded people, but I have found for myself that the only person that can make a decision for me and can help me truly decide is me and
Hmm.
God. And God puts that, that intuition, he strengthens, sharpens that intuition inside of me. Because
Hmm.
when I look back over the years, a lot of the decision making I did came from what other people told me I should be doing, or
Right.
the idea of myself that other people told me who I was. And
Right.
so when I started tapping into myself, then that's when I started to really get clear. And,
Right.
that's what we want to do. We want to help other women get clear and get
Mhm.
unstuck. We want to get them to help them move ahead in
Right.
even one little step, that can be a transformation in itself. Just one little
Right.
decision can really transform you and propel you to move forward.
Right. Like it's about moving towards something that feels right for you,
Mm-hmm.
not for someone else, not what other people think you should be doing or where you should be moving forward or how you should be moving forward. Because I'm sure when you decided to move to Spain, I'm sure you've had, if it wasn't your kids or, a spouse or a significant other, I'm sure someone was like, "Really? Are you sure you wanted to? Why? Why would you want to leave America?" That's always hear the question. Why would you want to leave America? And it
Everybody
wasn't
said that. They
right.
said
And
why, when, where, what, how, and
right,
but it's none of their business, because
right,
the vision was not for them. It was for me.
right.
Family said it, friends said it, but it didn't matter to me. I just knew that something in my heart was telling me that's where I needed to be.
So why was it Spain? What was that
Well,
epiphany
because
about Spain?
that was the language I had an affinity towards, and I had been learning it like back in the fifth grade,
Uh,
our fifth grade Spanish, and I didn't want to start all over again with a completely new language that I didn't know anything about. So this one was just an easier, way to go for me to
yeah.
take on Spanish. And
Okay.
I like the idea of Spain, and my daughter had an affinity towards Spain because she'd been there numerous times on her
Hmm.
own, traveling around. And so I said, okay, if she's gonna come live there eventually, then that should be the place then.
Right, right.
So,
And I also want to let folks know this conversation isn't about moving out of the country necessarily. That's not what it's about. There's plenty of other podcasts that'll talk about that. This conversation is more about as women of a certain age, 45 and older, we have to really look at what we want, and that's not to go against or call a rift in your home, but to really look at what you want and what you need and start working towards that,
mm,
in a way that makes you feel complete, that makes you feel like, okay, there is something more to my life than just getting up and going to work and doing that 9 to 5 and then coming home and taking care of everyone else.
right,
Even
right.
if it's a small step of every month, I'm going to go and have a weekend to myself. And it's about the spiritual growth as well as that the physical growth. It's about that, where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I see my life and my peace in 5 years? If that's a time frame for you.
Right.
But it's more than just about moving. For Miriam and for myself, that is a part of our journey, but that might not be your journey, and that's okay.
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that, Miss
Well, let me
Miriam?
just see who's in my chat here.
Oh, okay.
I have
Who's
G
in your chat?
Bernie. Great content, Miss Davenport. Oh, thank you so much. We're trying. Card Hunter said hi. Hi.
Hey,
Are
hey.
you from Egypt? Says Annie Honey. No, I'm not from Egypt, but that sounds exciting. Terry says
Oh,
hello from Indianapolis. Hey, Terry. All right.
thank you guys for joining.
So yeah,
Oh, and
it
that,
is about more than that. It doesn't have to be about moving overseas at all. I mean, I know
mhm,
people who stay put right where they are, but they pivot and decide, you know what, I'm going to start pouring into me, and
yeah,
not pouring into a company to grow them, and they're going
yeah,
to do that for themselves, and that's what it's all about. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like I was saying,
Like, I
I
like
want,
working hard.
Mhm.
I don't mind working 12, 15 hours a day. I don't, but for myself,
For yourself,
not for
right?
somebody else. And I love being of service to other people, but
Yeah,
I like it on my terms where I can help other people the way I want to help them, and how I can really see where they need help, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. So, so tell me, Miss Miriam, when you started because you have two podcasts, when you started your
Ugh,
first,
don't remind me.
now I'm just
You mean two
curious,
channels, two channels,
you have two
two channels,
channels,
one podcast.
okay. Oh, you're busy, lady. See, I interchangeably call them podcasts and channels. I know I need to stop. But anyway, when you started your channel, your
Uh-huh.
first one, what was that about? Because that also reminded me when I was watching you that you were trying to help people come into their own, help women come into their own, and you what is it, not blogged, maybe it wasn't blog, but you talked about your day to day, going to work, coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was work. But I found that really interesting because you were in your office just talking, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, look at her.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, what made you decide to make that part of your channel, that journey?
I think I just made it out of needing other people to just being able to express myself, number one, and feeling like this was as I started to express myself and people started commenting, I began
Mhm.
to feel that it was a community for me, and that I could express myself. They would talk to me, and every day I had my camera up in my car. You guys remember that? I had my camera up and on the visor, and I would just film myself talking, commuting to work. And then when I got to work, I would put in my 8 hours, but then the rest, I would still to be there for 12 hours. So the rest of the day, I was filming and talking about, my day to day, and, what a grind it was. And eventually it got to the point where, like, why am I here? Why am I
Mhm.
doing this? And there's more to life than doing this in this room, in this way, with these set of rules, with no, a ceiling to the amount of money that I can make. There's
Yeah.
more to life than this. And so I started
Right.
talking about that. And then one day I was so fed up that and that was the video that went viral, actually.
Right.
And
Right.
I wrote on a piece of paper, and I spelled outa wrong. I said, I'm out of here, and I put OUTA. I was like scribbling, and I rushed it, and I turned it around and took a picture of it, and I filmed it, and that was it,
That was it. Yeah.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about, what we're discussing today isn't just about ditching the grind. I mean, that's definitely a part of it. And we kind of touched upon how you have to reclaim yourself before you can ditch the grind. And what I mean by that is, there's one thing that I've learned is that before I could even think about creating a true free life, and whatever that looks like for you, like I said, it might just be going to, the wine bar and having a glass of wine. But whatever your freedom looks like, you first have to reclaim yourself. Because the truth is, you can move to another country, you can change careers, you can even buy a new house if that's what you want. But if you haven't reconnected with you, you're just taking the same
Set of
disconnected
problems.
version
Yeah.
of yourself into a new situation.
Hmm.
So that's not freedom. That's, you're just relocating your problem.
Right.
So for you, how did you reclaim yourself first before you decided to move to Spain? Or is Spain you reclaiming yourself?
Spain is definitely a part of it. I
Hmm.
reclaimed myself before I left, and that's what propelled me to make the decision after I reclaimed myself, because I
Okay.
said, I'm going to move overseas, and that's going to be it. So when I made that decision, it was, I left the job, I left the relationship, after 6.5 years, and I just said, you know what, now I'm going to do me, because
And
if nobody else is going to help me and come save me, then I got to save myself.
and you talk about that on your other
A
podcast,
lot.
your 6 year relationship. You talk about
Yeah.
that, so you got to check if you haven't checked it, check it out.
Yeah.
And and I know for me, I realized I had slowly lost pieces of myself over the years. I've been married for 30. It'll be 30 years this December.
Wow.
Been with my husband's longer than I haven't. So all I know is, being in this relationship. And it's been, I can't complain. It's been a wonderful relationship. And like with any relationship, it's ups and downs. 3 kids, 2 grandkids. But when we were younger, I had told my husband, I said, this is not where I want to live when I retire.
Mm.
This is not, and I wasn't necessarily talking about, moving to a whole new country. It was just like, this is not where I want to be when I retire. I want to be either, I want to be in a whole new house, blah, blah, blah. I had visions in my mind of where I wanted to be. But then as things started to slowly change, especially the political landscape, and I started seeing how the cost of things, our retirement fund was not going to keep up with the cost of living, and especially in California,
Yeah.
I started rethinking what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So the pieces of me I slowly lost over the years, with the compromising, the shifts of where my own needs kept getting pushed back. I had to finally say, and my husband's very supportive. I had to finally say, I need something different
Mm.
in my life, not in my relationship, not relationship with my husband or my kids, but the relationship with myself. I need something different. And that's when I, started doing my own research in Portugal, which isn't too far from Spain. So we'll
That's
be
right.
hanging out,
That's
girl.
right.
I said that's something I want to look into, and I
Mhm.
seriously dove into it. And now I am making my plans for 2026
Woo!
to my exit, and hubby will come when he can,
Yeah.
and after 30 plus years of being with, the actor, the love of my life, he understands and he's very supportive. So that has been really helpful,
I love
um,
it.
for me and me growing into the woman I have become.
Mhm.
So, anybody, I mean, I'd like to hear what the audience has to say if they, especially the ladies, if you have come to a point in your life where you're like, this can't be all there is. There's got to be more.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be more.
Hey, Dev. Oh, he's talking about crypto. Okay.
Oh,
There's more than crypto.
he's talking about crypto. Okay. That's not what we're talking about, but okay, I'll take any crypto advice.
That's true.
I invest in crypto. I'm
Me
not,
too.
I have no problem with that. So,
Wait, I gotta hold
so
that thought. I'm gonna let the dog out. Hold on.
okay,
Keep talking.
any okay. So Temple, if you're still in there, hon, because I know you're moving to Portugal soon. I know you're going to be leaving the end of this month to uh, visit for 3 months, and then figure out from there where you're gonna go and what you're gonna do. So, oh hey Temple. Anyway, so reclaiming yourself is giving yourself permission to explore what you like, what you value, what you dream about without feeling guilty. And that's another thing. We sometimes have been made to feel guilty to have dreams other than taking care of other people, being someone's, spouse or significant other. And it's almost like, especially as a woman, and I see so many, I can't even, sometimes I just have to turn them off. I see so many uh, what am I saying? Videos out there
Mm-hmm.
that talk about, well, we have all these single women, and are these women, who aren't married or don't want to be married. And I'm all for, if you want to be married and you're in a happy relationship, stay married. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to be single and you are, content being single, and maybe you want to get into a relationship, do that too. But don't let what society says, don't let their expectations of you, especially those of us 45 and older, don't let those expectations, be the end all to what you want to do with,
Yes.
this second half of your life.
Don't let society put your dreams on hold.
Right. Right.
I was recently out on the street, not I was
That didn't
interviewing
sound
people.
right.
I was interviewing people. But I was talking to different people, and to hear these women, how they were putting their dreams on hold for all types of different reasons.
Right.
And, for what? Like, how many more years are you going to wait? Because
And that
you got to jump at some point. And even then, when you in its time, when you think it's time, it's still not going to be the right time. It's not going to be the perfect time. You just have to make
is
a
it
decision
ever?
to do it. Right.
Is it ever? It's like
It's not
saying
going to
it's
be
a perfect
perfect.
time to have children, the perfect time to get married. There isn't. But you're right. If you wait until you are no longer afraid or
Hmm.
looking for the perfect time, it'll never happen. It
Yeah.
won't happen. I don't think moving in 2026 is the perfect time. I just know that, hey, I'm making a plan, and I'm going to stick to that plan, and I'm going to execute that plan. Now,
Yeah.
is it going to run necessarily as smoothly as I want it? No, I've already had a setback, and I
Hmm.
haven't even gotten there yet. And I've already had a setback, but that's okay. There's not going to be a perfect time,
There's not.
and I emphasize this even more. At a certain age, you have less time in front of you than you do behind you. And I know that sounds morbid, and people are like, don't talk like that. But the reality of it is the truth. When you're in your 20s and 30s, and sometimes even early 40s, you think, oh, I got another blah, blah, blah years. And before you look up, you're 58, about to be 59 in less than 6 months. So you don't have as much time as you
Yeah.
think. And yes, if you have family and responsibilities, I get it. We all go through that process. But you also have to look at, you have to do for yourself even in the middle of that process.
Hmm.
You have
Yes.
to find time to put yourself first.
The
So you
people in my family, they live to a long age. Like my father is 93, and he's
nice.
every day he works out, he runs, he lifts
Wow.
weights. I mean, he
Yeah,
does it
okay.
all. I have videos of him doing push-ups and pull-ups
Uh,
on the in the hallway on that
yeah.
that bar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so he does all of that. But my mother, who we thought was going to live even longer than him, passed away
Oh,
uh, recently. And
oh,
my daughter's father, he passed away also, close to when
mm.
she did. So
Oh,
life is
wow.
unexpected.
That's
And my
unexpected.
mother,
Hmm.
fortunately, she, in her last number of years, traveled extensively all over the world, all over the world.
Okay.
And my father didn't want to, he's like, oh, I don't want to. He put in a lot of time at work. He was retired and he just didn't want to, do that
Right.
anymore. But my mother didn't let it stop her. She had that
Right.
dream and did it. So, you can say that she led a full life and did what she wanted to do.
And
So,
that's wonderful that he didn't, and I hate to use the word let and allow, because
hmm.
and people have to realize, just because you're married and just because you're the man of the house, you don't let or allow anything. We are
But it's
two
good to have an
individual.
understanding,
You have to understand,
a
but
mutual
that's a whole other
appreciation and all that.
topic that we're
Yeah,
not going to get
yeah,
into. But it's nice that that your father encouraged her and supported her
yeah,
in doing those things, so she didn't feel like, you don't want to do anything, but you're not letting me do anything.
right.
So that's wonderful that he, encouraged her to do what she wanted to do. That's a beautiful thing,
Let me
and that's
see.
what real marriage is about.
It is. I'm just looking at the chat. Dev said, I know, because he's the one who's interested in crypto. He says, I know, but it's my ticket out of this 9 to 5 mess. Okay,
I heard
then.
that.
All right,
I heard
go
that.
all in. Okay, that's
I
great. Are
heard
those the
that.
ones that you're interested in? He says XRP,
Yep.
XLM,
Yes.
XDC,
XRP.
H bar, etc. I don't know if I know about
Okay.
H bar, so okay, we'll talk
Yeah, I don't
about
know about
that.
H bar, but XRP, yeah, that's I've been stocking up on
Me
those since they
too.
were 45 cents.
G Bernie, hi. And she asked, how is the cost of living where you live? I'm assuming you mean in Spain. It is very cheap. Beer is like 60 cents for,
Ooh,
yeah.
if I
And
like beer, that'd be great.
yes, you can get a whole 6 pack for like $1 something of
Dang.
Corona, whatever it is that you want. They give out
Yeah.
wine like they give out water. You don't have to tip. The only thing that is more pricey is when you live there as a resident, the taxes
The
are
taxes.
can be more pricey. But that's because,
What? Yeah.
I'm talking about for the people, for the locals, because they have that income. If you're bringing U.S. income over there, then
Right.
it's different. But
Right.
otherwise, everything is cheaper. I mean, it's fresher,
Yeah.
it's cheaper, healthier. It's just
Yeah.
it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And then she said, would you consider coming back to the States for your retirement? I want to say that I am retired right now. I'm retired, but I'm on my second job doing for me. So I am retired from the US and that type of work. And yeah, I'm just global now. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And Deb says, how is Spain for original folks like us? What's original folks?
She's talking about black folks, hon.
Oh,
That's what I'm assuming.
what?
That's what I'm
Okay.
assuming.
Let me tell you, I have never been so welcome, and I've traveled lots of different places all over the world. I have been so welcome. They're in Spain and in Italy. So welcome, so appreciated. I mean, everybody wants to hug and be helpful and do whatever they can. When they had that blackout that was in Europe, all in different places, my neighbors reached out to me and made sure I was okay. They cooked for me. It
Oh,
was
you were
wonderful.
there
Yeah,
during the blackout?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know what
Yeah.
was happening. I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't have any. Fortunately, I had candles. I did have
Yeah.
candles, so when it got dark, I had the candles. But
Okay.
there was another neighbor who had a gas stove, and so
Mm.
she was still able to cook, and so it was
Oh,
nice.
okay.
I had a good time getting to
Okay.
know everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And Portugal is pretty much the same way when it comes to the kindness and uh, how they treat black folk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I found them very. I would say this: they are not overly nice, but they're very polite. And
Mm.
there's a difference because you can be that fake, phony nice like
Yeah.
we are here in America, but they were more than willing to help, even though I didn't know the
Mm-hmm.
language. My place I'm going to be living or moving to is Porto, and they have that's where the port wine comes from. I love me some port wine. So and the glasses and the bottle of port wine, boy, the
Ooh,
first month
all right.
I might be tilted sideways. I love port wine. Oh my God. And my husband was like, "Oh, this is gross." And sardines. They are the
Oh,
place
okay.
for sardines, and I love sardines.
All right.
So
Sardines and
port
crackers.
wine. Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, I think Portugal and Spain are pretty much the same. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're sister countries, so
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty much the same. I would say when it comes to how they treat expats, black expats, very welcoming, and I didn't, have any. I didn't feel any type of way.
I
Um,
agree. I mean, the only place that I've ever felt any prejudice at all was here in the US. I've never felt
mhm,
it overseas ever. And
mm,
they're very like, whatever you bring, that's what you're going to receive. And even
right.
then they're just so patient and kind. The only place I've ever like saw like more stern looks on people's faces was in
Mm,
Switzerland, but they were still
mm,
nice and pleasant. But you
mhm,
can,
mhm.
if you
Yeah,
really look behind the scenes, you kind of want to think like, oh, maybe they're just, doing that because they have
because
to or something,
yeah,
But
yeah,
otherwise,
yeah,
they were
yeah,
nice.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So we're going to go back to, like we were talking about reclaiming ourselves
Mm-hmm.
as women, 45 and older. Once you start reclaiming yourself, you begin to realize that freedom doesn't always mean you have to blow up your whole life. We're not saying that. Sometimes it's smaller things, it's everyday shifts, it's just doing something for yourself that'll eventually lead up to something bigger, something that you probably never thought you would do.
Mm,
And I've said this before on my podcast, I would have never thought I would be in front of a camera because I am the last person. I am an introvert. Um, so I would have never thought a couple of years ago that I would be in front of a camera talking to, well, people I don't even know, and exposing myself to, you get exposed to criticism, you get exposed to just a lot of different things. But I just felt that this time in my life and what I'm trying to do and who I'm trying to help and to be in community with, this was my way of saying, hey, here I am. I want to be in community with you. I want to help however many women that I can help to start to reclaim themselves and evolve and to figure out
mm-hmm.
the woman that they are becoming,
Right.
and just, like I said, community to me is very important. And that's one of the other reasons why I picked Portugal, because there is a great expat community in
There
Portugal.
is.
So that was important. That was
Mm-hmm.
important to me. So,
Yeah.
anything you want to add on to that, Miss Miriam?
Um, well, where I'm living, there's not a big expat community. It's maybe the closest one is about 45 minutes away, but I chose that on purpose because I did want to immerse myself in the culture.
And that's
Um,
smart. Yeah, that's definitely smart. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
I'm
have to.
not saying
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to
force.
stay there for life, I mean, I like to move, I like to travel, so that could be my like home base when I as I
Right.
travel.
Right.
Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, we want to pour into you, and that's why we're putting together this workshop so that
Mhm.
we can help women move and get out of that place that you feel like you're stuck, or
Yeah. Mhm.
you don't know where to turn, you don't know how to pivot sooner rather than later. And
Exactly.
we can help you
Exactly.
do that. We really
Yes.
can. We've helped some women already, and we can help you also.
Yeah. Because freedom, and we speak about freedom, however freedom looks to you, freedom is a choice that you have to keep making. You can't stop. It's not something you can just say, okay, I choose freedom, and then don't make plans on how you're going to obtain that.
Mm.
You can't create freedom in an isolation. You need community. And that's what we're saying, that community is so very important. Even when you're on this journey of saying, who am I? What do I want to do next? What is my goal for myself? What is my next goal? So it's important that you have a community. Oh,
Yeah.
and here's one from helping women to stop operating from fear, even a made up sense that we must operate from fear versus courage. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Temple. She
Hmm.
always comes with she always comes with such what's the word I'm looking for? Knowledge. That's not the word I was
Knowledge.
looking for, but I'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
anyway, she always has great
The
quotes.
poetic advice. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly, exactly. Okay,
Yes.
so I
Yes.
want to ask you guys before we get out of here. Think of one area where you've been on autopilot. What's one small shift you can make towards more freedom this week? And that's important. What is just one small shift you can make towards freedom this year? Or this week, excuse me, not this year, this week. One
Hmm.
small shift, one small step toward more freedom this week. What is it? What can you do? So, if anybody has anything that they want to, you know, put in the chat, I'd love to hear it. Just one small shift.
Dev says, believe in myself. Yeah, you have
Oh,
to believe in yourself. That's a
you
good
do.
one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very important because if you don't
Very
believe
much
in
so.
you, who's gonna believe in you? You got to be
Exactly.
your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that has held me back because I have a lot of that doubt, a lot of that, okay, can I do this? What if I do it and it doesn't look right? That
Hmm.
perfectionism is one of those things that has kept me from doing a lot of things because I'm like, okay, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't look like, the other person down the street? Or what if my podcast doesn't look like, somebody else's? Or just a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
Um, and I've had to really break free from that, especially in the beginning doing these podcasts. I really had to stop saying it doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect
Hmm.
is not authentic.
Yeah.
Perfect is not authentic, and I'm not going to be perfect. Um, eat every episode, it's not perfect.
Right.
And I've had to learn to just live with that and deal with it and
Hmm.
give myself grace
There's
because we
something
are
with
the
every episode that I put out. There's something. I don't. This could be sound. It could be something. But I'm like,
right,
hey, you know what? It's
right.
reality.
Yeah, we're a one woman show here,
You
so
know what I'm saying? Pushing buttons and all that. It's
pushing
what we got.
buttons and hoping for the best.
Yeah. But
Oh,
I'm
can
going
you
to
hear me?
piggyback on that when you said, to what's one thing you could do this week. Um, Also imagine yourself, and instead of thinking, like, what if it doesn't work out, just think about what if it does. What
What
if
if it
it
does?
does, and envision what that looks like. Because
Yeah.
when I was in my worst sunken place,
Mm,
watching that movie Get Out, I was in that sunken place.
right.
And when I tell you that I, in my mind, went to Spain, sat there,
Mm,
could feel myself with hands on the grocery bags, could feel the cobblestone streets as I walked down the street. I was there.
yeah.
And this was before I even started planning anything,
Right.
so
Right.
just envision yourself with it working out, and it will go so long to actually make it happen because manifestation is real. It really
Girl,
is.
I'll one up you on that manifestation. When my first grandchild was born, I refused to let them call me grandma. I was like, no, we're not doing that. So I was like, what other name can I use? So I started looking at names in other languages and I
Mm,
picked Abe.
okay.
Abe is Portuguese for
Mm.
grandmother.
Wow. See
And
that?
so, right. And
Didn't even know.
and that was 13 years ago. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would have never thought.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, what is, Temple said I had to give myself permission to take nap between patients this
Yes.
week.
Woo.
I need to learn to take naps.
Take
That's
a
so
nap.
hard for me. Even I can be dead tired, and my brain is always saying, "I got one more thing to do,
Yeah.
one more thing to do." So I've got to learn to take naps. Maybe when I get to Portugal, I'll be able to take naps because I'll be more
I
relaxed.
think we're sisters from another mister. I really do, because we are just
We got the
alike.
same birthday,
We
so yes.
Yeah, we are just alike. I tell you. Let me see. Deb says, and maybe step away from religion. That's a good one.
Ooh,
Because
okay.
organized religion can get you locked up. It really can, like just hemmed up. So that you feel like everything has to be done this way, and
Yeah,
it doesn't allow you creative expression, and
I like that, Deb. I like
you
that.
really have
Yeah,
to go inwards on that
I
and
do.
think about what God is saying to you, not the church, not the pastor. What is God saying to you? And just
Right,
sit with that. Yeah,
right, right.
that's a good one.
Okay. So, Miriam, you wanna take it home?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, will you close us out in prayer? Okay. So yeah, ladies who were on the call, this workshop that we're putting on is for you. and we want you to join us so that we can, be there to support you and to help you grow. And I don't have the information in front of me, but we are holding the workshop in January for the new year. So, but we have a special going on that if you sign up early, then we have some special prizes or gifts to give you. So, you have the link in the chat?
Yeah, do
Is
you
that what
see
you're
it?
putting up?
Do you see the link?
Do I see it? I don't know. No, I don't see it.
No, you know what? Probably what I'll have to do is put it in the description because it
Yeah.
might not show on your end because
Okay.
I put the link in on our end. I'm still learning this StreamYard.
Yeah.
I got away from it for a while because I wasn't doing lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I will put it in the description.
Yeah, so
And then
sign up
YouTube.
as soon as
Yeah,
possible. The early bird gets the worm, and you'll get
right.
your special
And
gifts.
Right, and we also have a poll that we would
Mm-hmm.
like for you to ladies to take. It just gives us an idea of what you're looking for, what you're
Mm-hmm.
needing, so we can develop this workshop. I want to call it a retreat. I don't like the word workshop. I want to call it a retreat because
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you're going to come away with. I know you're going to come away with. Let me rephrase that. Let me use better. Let me use more positive. You are going to come away with feeling like you know what your next steps
Mm-hmm.
are. You're going to feel rejuvenated. You are going to feel like, okay, I know how to get from point A to point
Yeah.
B. And, we want to make sure that we are giving you what you need in this retreat slash workshop. So I will put a link to our poll. And if you guys, it's a real quick 2-minute poll, just gives us some idea of what you're looking for. That will help us develop this this workshop. Hey, baby,
Hey.
this workshop retreat that is going to be beneficial to you ladies.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will put that link in the description as well as the wait list
Okay.
in the description.
Yeah. You
All right,
look forward to a transformation because
thank you.
it's going to be powerful. We're going to have guest speakers with
Mm,
different topics to help you. We're doing this for this community.
yes,
This is our
exactly.
mission.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and sign out right now because I know Miriam, she is on the East Coast, so it's getting late out there. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
keep her on too long. I know she's been ripping and running this week, trying to get everything settled before she
Yeah.
has to fly out to Spain.
Yep.
So thank you guys for joining us. This has been my first stream in, oh, it has to be about 6 months. So thank you guys for joining us and listening and just being a part of this conversation.
Thanks, Dev. She said great conversation.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Deb.
being on.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Anything
Okay.
else you want to end with, Miriam? Before we
No,
sign
just we want to
close out?
stay strong and stay connected. Just you guys can always email us. We always put our information in the description box. If you have something that you want to get on a call with us individually, you can
Mhm.
talk to us. You can you guys know how to reach us. We're here for
Right,
you.
right.
We're here.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, you guys, thank you again,
Thank you,
and we will
Angela,
see
for
you again
hosting.
real soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Love from Montreal, Canada. Okay. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate all of you. And I'm going to start doing more lives. I haven't done that many. I've been so busy trying to get myself together and clearing things out because I left a lot of things here before I left for Spain. And so I'm working on all of that, plus the 2 channels and the podcast. So it's a lot. But I do what I can. And now we're doing this workshop. And, it is what it is because it makes me feel uplifted to know that I'm being of service. So when you guys are in contact with me and you sign up for these things, this helps me. It propels me to do more. So thank you for your support, and I'm here for you guys whenever you need me. All right, take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye.